Curiosity-Based Newsletter, July 28th, 2026. Subject line, Acknowledging the Bitter and Sweet. Image caption, Julie's friend's orange bloom bush is thriving once again after it was moved from a crowded garden and replanted in a more spacious location with more room to grow. I recently reconnected with my friend, Colleen, and was so inspired with how she initiated a major life transition that I asked if I could share her story here. Colleen spent most of her life building a family and running a business with her husband. Then, about 8 years ago, they divorced and ended their business together. After employing sizable teams for years, she had to get a job at a small startup that shut down shortly thereafter. She went to another company that also had massive layoffs, then another one. After each layoff, it became harder and harder to get the next job. For another 18 months, she tried to find employment with no success. As a woman in her early 60s, she suspected she was dealing with ageism in an expensive city dominated by young professionals. Colleen was withering. She was living on her dwindling savings. She began questioning her self-worth. Her kids were grown and didn't seem to need her anymore either. The continual rejection exhausted her. Earlier this spring, she realized she needed to change her environment, even though it meant leaving behind everything that she knew. So, Colleen rented out her little house, packed her car with a few belongings, and moved to a small tourist town in another state where there were more people her age. If it didn't work out, she reasoned at least it was a change from stagnating where she was. It was the first time in her life she prioritized her own needs. Within a week in the new town, she found a part-time retail job and a one-bedroom apartment. Within 2 months, she secured a good job that made use of her leadership experience. When Colleen recounted her story, what surprised me was her lack of bitterness. She said, Seattle was good to me for a long time. I still love it, but it's not the place for me anymore. I had to admit that and move on. I am a big fan of finding the lessons learned from bad experiences. But I realized from Colleen that focusing on the bad may reduce these experiences to being useful only for what they can teach us not to do. They may forget to acknowledge how many of those same experiences were also once sources of joy. Honoring the good times doesn't mean downplaying the bad times. We can accept that our experiences are made up of both bitter and sweet parts, hence the word bittersweet. The way Colleen uprooted her life and started over in a new environment reminded me of a friend's once healthy plant that got crowded out by other plants and became sick. Sometimes we also get crowded out and have to transplant ourselves to a place that gives us more space to grow. Many of us will find that we have to reroot ourselves in new environments, workplaces, and relationships to continue to thrive. When have you had to replant yourself so that you can thrive again? Have you acknowledged both the bitter and sweet of former experiences? I'd love to hear what these reflections brought up for you. Best, Julie. To learn more, visit us at curiositybased.com. If you like the content of this newsletter, please forward it to a friend who you think will benefit from it.